Rain was falling in silver sheets across the quiet evening street. Car headlights blurred into streaks on the wet asphalt. Somewhere in that restless storm, a black luxury car roared louder than the thunder. Inside sat Damien, the spoiled son of one of the city's richest tycoons. His foot pressed hard on the gas, music thundering. His smirk said it all. He believed rules didn't apply to him. On the corner, a young woman, visibly pregnant, clutched her umbrella. Her other hand pressed protectively against her stomach. She glanced left, then right, before stepping carefully off the curb. The screech of tires, a horn, a flash of panic. "Move!" Damien shouted, though it was already too late. The car clipped her, sending her spinning to the wet ground. Her scream cut through the night. The umbrella flew into the air, landing twisted on the pavement. For a moment, silence. Just the rain. People froze under neon shop signs. One man gasped. A child cried out. Damien cursed under his breath, slamming the brakes. He stepped out, designer shoes splashing into the puddles. His jaw clenched in irritation, not guilt. "Are you blind, lady?" he barked, staring down at her. The woman trembled, clutching her belly. Tears mixed with the rain on her cheeks. I'm pregnant." Her voice cracked, weak, yet sharp enough to cut through the air. Gasps from the gathering crowd. Murmurs, shaking heads. Damien rolled his eyes, brushing rain from his tailored jacket. "Pregnant or not, you walked into my way. You should have been more careful." His words stabbed the crowd. One man stepped forward, fists clenched. "Apologize, you arrogant brat." But Damien only scoffed. "Do you know who my father is? You think I'll waste my time on this?" He gestured dismissively at the trembling woman on the ground. Silent moment. The crowd's anger simmered like thunder in the distance. Everyone was waiting for something. And then, the woman whispered through her pain, almost too soft for anyone to hear. "My husband." Her eyes closed as another contraction of pain shook her body. The crowd leaned in. Damien's smirk faded for the first time. Who was her husband? A question hung heavy in the storm. What kind of man was about to walk into this scene? The sound of heavy footsteps echoed down the alley. The sound of boots against wet pavement grew louder. Each step echoed like a warning bell. The crowd parted instinctively, their eyes shifting between the trembling pregnant woman on the ground and the dark figure approaching from the end of the alley. Damien narrowed his eyes, rain dripping from his perfectly styled hair. "Who the hell is that?" he muttered. The woman gasped through her pain, clutching her stomach tighter. "My husband." A ripple passed through the people. Some whispered. Others fell silent, waiting. Then he emerged, tall, broad-shouldered, his jacket soaked through but his posture unshaken. His eyes, sharp as blades, locked onto the sight of his wife sprawled on the ground. For a moment, time seemed to stop. The only sounds were the rain tapping against the pavement and the faint hum of Damien's idling car. He knelt beside her immediately. His hands, though large and strong, trembled with care as he touched her arm. "Emily, talk to me. Are you hurt?" His voice was deep, controlled, but laced with panic. I'm okay," she whispered, though her voice broke with every word. "The baby, I don't know." Her husband's jaw tightened. A storm was brewing behind his eyes. He looked up and his gaze met Damien's. Silent moment. No words, just raw tension. Damien, still arrogant, raised his chin. She stepped into the road. "It's her fault." The crowd hissed. One woman shouted, "Shame on you." Another muttered, "Heartless brat." But Damien smirked, brushing imaginary dust from his sleeve. "Do you know who I am? My father owns half this city. I don't answer to nobodies." The husband stood, his height towering over Damien. For the first time, Damien's confident smirk faltered. "Your father's money doesn't shield you from consequences," the husband said, his tone low, almost dangerous. Damien chuckled nervously, then stepped closer, trying to regain control. "Oh, really? And who's going to make me pay?" "You." He jabbed a finger at the man's chest. The The husband didn't flinch. His eyes burned with calm fury. Yes, me. The crowd erupted in murmurs. Some took out their phones, recording every second. The scene was no longer just an accident. It was turning into something bigger. Emily groaned softly, clutching her stomach again. The husband instantly turned, kneeling beside her once more. His hands hovered carefully over her. "Stay with me, love. I've got you." Damien sneered. "You're wasting your time with her. If she loses that baby, it won't be on me." Everyone here saw it. "She walked into my car." The crowd gasped. A man shouted, "You monster!" A woman cried, "Have you no shame?" But Damien's words were cut short. The husband slowly stood again, his wet jacket clinging to his frame. His voice was steady, but it carried an authority that silenced the entire street. "You're standing here, boasting about your father's empire, but you don't even realize who you've just hurt." Damien blinked. "What are you talking about?" Silent pause. The husband took a step forward, his eyes drilling into Damien's. The crowd leaned in, breathless. Emily looked up, whispering, "Please, don't." But her husband didn't stop. "You think you can walk over people. You think money buys respect. But you hit my wife, my family, and you don't even know the price of that mistake." Damien scoffed again, though his voice cracked faintly. "You're bluffing. You're just some working-class nobody. I can smell it on you." The husband tilted his head, a cold smile breaking through the storm. "Is that so?" The crowd froze. Phones stayed up, recording because everyone knew something huge was about to be revealed. The husband leaned closer, his next words like a blade. "You should have asked my name before you hit her." Rain kept falling, but the silence was louder than the storm. Everyone's eyes locked on the husband as he leaned in closer to Damien. His voice steady, almost too calm. "You should have asked my name before you hit her." Damien forced a laugh, though his lips trembled slightly. "Go on then. What's your name supposed to mean to me?" The husband's jaw clenched. His eyes burned like fire through the night. "Lucas Carter." The name dropped like a thunderclap. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Murmurs rose instantly. "Did he say Lucas Carter? Wait. The Lucas Carter? No way, that's him?" Even those who didn't know the man suddenly felt the weight of that name. Damien blinked, confused. Who the hell is that supposed to be? Some street tough. He smirked, trying to laugh off the tension. "Sounds like a nobody to me." But his smirk wavered when a man in the crowd stepped forward, eyes wide. "You idiot. Lucas Carter is no nobody. He's the ex-military strategist. Decorated. The man who built a billion-dollar security empire from scratch. You've been watching too much of your father's wealth blind you, kid." The whisper spread like wildfire. Phones streamed live. People typed his name into searches, and within seconds, comments flew across screens. Damien's throat bobbed as he swallowed. His arrogance cracked. For the first time, he realized he was standing against a man far bigger than himself. Lucas didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. He simply said, "You hurt my wife, my child, and then you dared to mock her." Silent moment. Damien shifted his weight nervously, his bravado collapsing under the weight of Lucas's calm fury. Emily groaned again, clutching her stomach. Lucas instantly turned, crouching beside her, his hand resting gently on hers. His entire demeanor softened in an instant. "Breathe, love. I've got you. You're safe." The crowd's hearts swelled. Some women wiped tears. A man whispered, "That's a real husband." Damien, panicked now, tried to regain his arrogance. "So what if you're Lucas Carter? You think I care? My father can buy and sell men like you. He's got politicians in his pocket." Lucas looked up slowly, water dripping down his face, his expression carved from stone. "Your father's money may control men, but it will never control truth. And the truth is, you just committed a crime in front of dozens of witnesses." Damien's eyes darted around. The glowing red lights of recording phones stared back at him like unblinking eyes. His stomach dropped. A young man from the crowd shouted, It's all on video. The whole world's watching. Damien froze. He had always relied on his father's name. But now, this wasn't a quiet accident to sweep under the rug. This was live, viral, explosive. Lucas stood again, slowly, deliberately. Every inch of his posture radiated control. He walked toward Damien, and the spoiled son instinctively stepped back, his expensive shoes splashing in the puddles. "You've lived your life thinking you're untouchable," Lucas said, voice low but clear. "But tonight, the truth caught up to you." Damien's lips trembled. His fists clenched, but his bravado was gone. He was no longer in control. Then, out of desperation, Damien spat. "You think you can scare me? My father will crush you." Lucas stopped just a step away, his presence towering. He leaned forward, his words like ice. "Your father won't be able to save you. Not from this. Not from me." Silent moment. The rain drummed harder, as if marking the end of Damien's arrogance. Suddenly, Emily screamed in pain, her body curling as she cried, "Lucas! The baby!" The entire street erupted in panic. Emily's scream cut through the storm like a blade. Her hands clutched her stomach as she bent forward, tears streaming down her face. "Lucas!" she cried, her voice breaking. "It hurts. The baby." The crowd gasped. Mothers covered their mouths. Men shifted uneasily, helpless in the rain. Lucas's composure cracked for the first time. His hands trembled as he held her shoulders, his voice shaking. "Stay with me, Emily. Breathe. Please, just breathe." Her breaths came in sharp, ragged bursts. Each one was laced with fear. The storm outside mirrored the chaos in Lucas's heart. He turned his head sharply toward the crowd. "Somebody call an ambulance. Now!" Phones lit up instantly. Fingers fumbled across screens. Voices shouted into receivers. "There's a pregnant woman injured. Downtown, near Elm Street. Hurry!" But in the middle of the chaos, Damien sneered. He actually sneered. "Overdramatic. She barely got hit. You people are acting like it's the end of the world." The crowd turned on him with fury. A man barked, "Shut up, boy!" A woman yelled, "She's fighting for her baby." But Damien shrugged, smirking as though none of it mattered. His arrogance felt like poison dripping into the already heavy night. Lucas stood slowly, towering over Damien once again. But this time his eyes were darker, harder. His hands clenched at his sides, fighting the storm inside him. "Every word you speak," Lucas said quietly, "makes it harder for me not to break you right here." Silent pause. The air grew so heavy even the rain seemed to hesitate. Damien laughed nervously, stepping back. "You wouldn't dare. You lay a finger on me, and my father will bury you under lawsuits." Lucas's lips curled into a bitter smile. "Your father's money doesn't scare me. I faced men with guns, with armies. You're just a spoiled child hiding behind your last name." The crowd erupted in cheers. Someone shouted, "Tell him, Lucas." Another man added, "About time someone put this brat in his place." Damien's face turned red. His jaw tightened, fists shaking. But before he could respond, Emily let out another scream. This one was louder, desperate. "Lucas! I can't!" Her body trembled, her face pale. Lucas's heart dropped. He crouched beside her, his hands hovering helplessly. "Stay with me, love. The ambulance is coming. Just hold on." Her eyes flickered with tears, lips trembling. "Promise me, no matter what happens, protect our baby." Lucas's throat tightened. His voice broke. "Don't you say that. Nothing's going to happen to you. Nothing." The crowd stood frozen, watching this raw, unfiltered moment of love and fear. Even the toughest faces softened, eyes glistening. And then, police sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder, closer. Blue and red lights began to flicker across the wet street. Damien smirked again, though his voice wavered. "Good. The cops are here. Now you'll see what happens when you mess with my family." Lucas slowly stood, his wet jacket clinging to him. He turned, his eyes locking onto Damien's. Be careful what you wish for. Tonight, the truth doesn't belong to your father. It belongs to the world. Silent moment. The flashing sirens grew brighter as two police cars screeched to a halt. Officers spilled out, rushing toward the scene. Some went straight to Emily, kneeling beside her, radioing paramedics. Others turned toward Damien and Lucas. The tension was thick, the line between justice and corruption dangling on a thread. The crowd held its breath. Phones stayed high, recording every second. Damien lifted his chin, arrogance returning with the sight of uniforms. Officers, arrest this man. He threatened me. But one officer didn't move. His eyes flickered to Lucas, recognition dawning. His jaw tightened. He muttered under his breath. Words Damien couldn't hear, but the crowd did. Oh God! That's Lucas Carter. The officer straightened, his face pale, and instead of moving toward Lucas, he slowly turned toward Damien. The officer's boots splashed in the puddles as he stepped forward, his hand resting firmly on his belt. The rain poured harder, but the silence from the crowd was deafening. Everyone waited for his next move. Damien smirked, already raising his voice. Yes, that's right. Finally, someone with authority. Arrest this man. He threatened me, assaulted me with words, and enough. The officer's tone cut through Damien's arrogance like a blade. He didn't even look at Lucas. His eyes were locked on Damien. Damien Walsh, the officer said, his voice steady. You're under arrest. The street exploded in gasps. The crowd erupted. Phones zoomed in. Every lens wanted to capture this exact second. Damien blinked rapidly, confused, panicked. What? What did you just say? The officer didn't hesitate. You struck a pregnant woman with your vehicle. Multiple witnesses. Video evidence. And the victim's condition is serious. Two officers stepped forward, pulling out handcuffs. Damien stumbled back, eyes wide. No, no, no. You don't understand. My father, he's a billionaire. He owns you. He owns this city. But the officer's jaw only tightened. He looked directly into Damien's terrified eyes. Your father doesn't own Lucas Carter. And right now, that's the only name that matters. Silent moment. Damien's breath hitched. His bravado shattered. His knees almost buckled. The crowd roared with approval. Shouts echoed through the storm. Justice! Finally! Someone's holding him accountable. Emily whimpered again, and Lucas was instantly at her side, brushing her wet hair from her face. Hold on, love. They're here now. You're safe. Paramedics rushed in with a stretcher, kneeling beside Emily. One of them checked her vitals quickly, then nodded to Lucas. She's stable for now. We'll get her and the baby to the hospital. She needs monitoring immediately. Lucas kissed her trembling hand. His voice cracked with emotion. I'm right behind you. I promise. She nodded weakly, her tears mixing with the rain. The paramedics carefully lifted her onto the stretcher, covering her with a blanket. The crowd moved aside, silent, respectful, watching her being wheeled toward the ambulance. Meanwhile, Damien thrashed against the officers, screaming desperately. You can't do this. My father will destroy all of you. Do you know who I am? Lucas slowly stood. He walked toward Damien, step by deliberate step, his presence towering over the boy who once smirked with arrogance. Damien's voice cracked. Tell them to let me go. You're powerful, right? You can stop this. Lucas's expression was calm, yet cold. His voice carried like thunder. I could stop them, but I won't, because tonight the world saw the truth. Money doesn't make you untouchable. Power doesn't excuse cruelty. Silent pause. The rain dripped from Lucas's jaw as he leaned just close enough for Damien to hear. You hit my wife. You endangered my child. And you mocked her pain. Tonight isn't about your father's wealth. It's about justice. And justice finally caught you. Damien's face collapsed into tears, his arrogance drowned. His body shook as the cuffs clicked around his wrists. The crowd erupted in cheers. Some clapped. Others recorded. shouting words of encouragement toward Lucas and Emily. The air was heavy with relief, with hope, with the sense that, for once, the rich couldn't buy their way out. The ambulance doors slammed shut, sirens wailed, and Emily was whisked away into the night. Lucas's eyes followed, his chest rising and falling with a storm of emotions. Then, slowly, he looked back at the broken boy being shoved into the police car. For once, Damien was silent. Completely silent. The engines roared, police lights faded, and the street slowly returned to its ordinary rhythm. But the story, the lesson, was already carved into every soul who stood there. Silent moment. Lucas whispered to himself, almost like a vow. No one harms my family, not even the powerful. And as he turned to follow the ambulance, the question lingered in the hearts of everyone watching, including us. If you were in Lucas's place, would you have shown mercy to Damien? Or would you have let justice crush him completely?